cussing. I see the VCR in the distance. And it's like one of them movies running real slow. You know, it's like one of them track movies. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm almost there, and this man pushed me to the side. Y'all seeing me 13 fall. I know that's what's happening in your head. Fall to the ground. Why? Over a VCR. And I think to myself, how many times do we see this in the church? Where perhaps it's not a VCR, but maybe it's the food in the back. Or maybe more importantly, when somebody has a need. And instead of pushing toward helping somebody, being considerate, we have a buyer's mentality where we want to go take, not realizing that the person that we have passed up, that we've been inconsiderate toward, needed that more. Have you ever realized somebody needed, you got the same thing somebody else got, and you realize they needed it a lot more than you did? And you almost felt bad that you went at it the way you did because their need for it was nowhere near your need for it. In fact, you determined that you had a want and they had a need. Paul said, you've got to be humble. And when you're humble, it has to show through being gentle, being considerate toward one another. If you can't be considerate, it's a sign that you're not humble. And if you're not humble, we can't be unified. That's what Paul is saying. You've got to have the kind of attitude where you can be considerate toward the needs of other people. This is vital because the world needs to understand that we are people who are willing to give in order for somebody to see Christ. Let's wrap this up. Paul says, be completely humble and gentle. And oh Lord, here he says, be patient. Come on, patience. Paul says, first you gotta be what? You gotta be humble. You can't do this and not be humble. We will not have unity at this church if we're not humble. We can't have unity without being what? Gentle. In other words, being what? Considerate of each other. But when you get done with that, you've got to have some patience. The word for some of you in your translation says long suffering. Older preachers used to say it means to suffer long. Why would Paul say something like this? I wondered as I studied, why? I know patience is a wonderful virtue, but why in this context? And then it was revealed to me, when you're being humble, your attitude changes. You start realizing that you are not all that you may think you are. That perhaps you could tone it down a bit so that God can do some things through you. Then I wonder with my own self, after I'm humble, after I try to be humble, I get to a place where then my attitude adjusts, then it is manifested in my actions. And so I learn to be more considerate, more to be aware, more conscious of what people are going through and what their needs may be and what kind of things I can be doing in their lives to assist them to a point of unity. But whenever you start dealing with people, whenever you try to be more for the sake of the Lord, whenever you adjust your attitude, whenever you get to a place where you start considering each other more than yourselves, everybody does not respond to that kind of change in the most mature way. Okay. Have you ever really try to do something good. I mean, you woke up in the morning saying to yourself, today is going to be a good day because I'm going to do good things. I'm going to make sure I watch what I say. I'm going to watch what I do. I'm going to watch who I talk to, how I talk to them. I'm really going to do this right. Have you ever had a day like that when you try to do that and then everything wrong happened? I mean, the very folk that you've been having issues with, that you've been trying unsuccessfully to communicate with, and on this day you try to talk to effectively, and it seems like they're worse today than the other days when you didn't try as hard. Okay. Has anybody ever really tried to do something right and you got so turned off because of somebody else's behavior to the point where it almost made you feel bad that you even tried? Where you say, okay, I'm giving to this person, they don't appreciate me. I'm trying to take care of somebody else's kids, they can't give me $2 for a thank you, a happy meal, nothing. Or where you say to yourself, you know, I've been giving all that I have, and it seems like I am unappreciated. Paul is showing you, listen, this thing, unity, this ain't easy. That's why he says, make every effort. Because when you start to change your attitude, and you start to actually allow it to manifest in your behavior, you're going to have some patience with people. Because when you realize what God is doing and changing in your life, and you want the best for everybody else, you're going to realize there are some people that do not want to be better. Y'all remember in John 5, I believe, when Jesus is walking by the pool of Bethsaida, I believe, and there was a man that was there for 39 years, and Jesus said, do you want to be made well? His answer was not, yes, I'm ready. I've been waiting here 39 years. You know what his answer was? I would, but I don't have anybody to help me. There are some people you can't even convince enough to get better in their lives. And when your attitude changes and your behavior pattern changes, you have to be patient with the process somebody else is going through to accomplish the same thing. Everybody does not grow at the same rate. Let me help y'all with this. Everybody, first of all, unity, as I described it on last week, is not the beauty of two same things becoming one. That's not what unity looks like. The beauty of unity is when two different opposing things find a way to function as one. But the process in which one comes into unity is different based upon the individual. There are some people that it is very difficult to change their behavior pattern. And I know you might be saying, well, preacher, of course, this is difficult to anybody. No, listen to me. I'm saying when a person knows what to do, knows why to do it, and the good things that it will lead to, some people have a difficulty doing that, not because it doesn't lead to positive things, but simply because it's different. And what Paul is saying is, you're going to have to be patient so people can grow together. What would it look like if out of the perhaps 200 of us in the room, 100 of us decided, well, we're going to change our attitude, we're going to be more courteous, and then as soon as somebody does something that we don't like, then all of a sudden, we are all out of sorts. Somebody's got to be patient enough to deal with the other 100 folk who haven't got there yet. And I want to show y'all how this thing works as we close. Paul says, be completely humble, be gentle, be long-suffering, bearing. I'm going to do this in a few weeks. One another in love. Watch this. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Paul says when humility is accomplished, when gentleness is accomplished, when